this mean? We're going to go live now straight away to Moscow. CNN's Matthew Chance joins me right now. And Matthew, what exactly is being said here?
Yeah, well, the Kremlin spokesman, the spokesman for Vladimir Putin, confirmed this to me within the past few minutes, saying this when I asked him about U.S. relations with Moscow. He said this: "We've got nearly all levels of dialogue frozen. We don't talk to each other, or at least do so at a minimum." And I think that underlines just how sort of bad the relationship has become between Moscow and Washington, particularly over the past couple of years, over a whole range of issues that have divided those two countries. Issues like the conflicts in Syria, of course, first and foremost, where Russia and the United States are basically on opposite sides of that conflict, with the Russians supporting the government of Assad and the US supporting certain rebel groups. NATO expansion has also been an issue where they've fallen out. Crimea as well. In 2014, the Russians annexed Crimea, of course, from Ukraine, and have been subject on that issue to US sanctions. Those sanctions were expanded as well recently, and that's also angered the Kremlin.
Matthew, as I read this translation, nearly all levels of our dialogue has been frozen. Now that I look at that a second time, it seems to me he's saying we have a chilly relationship. The relationship is not good. It doesn't seem to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, like he's saying, Russia is freezing all relationships, cutting off ties to the United States.
Oh no, I don't think it means that. I think he was characterising how the relationship is, how warm it is, not very warm at all. The other thing to say is, by the way, this may be a temporary state, because the expectation here in Russia, amongst officials, amongst ordinary Russians, is that once Trump's in the presidency, that relationship is going to get a lot warmer than it has been under President Obama.
All right, Matthew Chance, stand by for a moment here. I want to bring in David Rhoda, CNN Global Affairs Analyst, National Security Investigations Editor for Reuters. In a way, it seems like this Kremlin spokesman is stating a fact, which is that the relationship between the United States and Russia right now is at a low point. It's very, very bad.
It is, and I mean, it's essentially the relationship between the Obama administration and some Republicans in Congress with Vladimir Putin. And I agree with Matthew. What matters is what is Donald Trump going to say when he becomes president, and more importantly, will Putin say this, in January? It's a lame duck administration. Putin can say things like this, and it doesn't have much consequence.
Both Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have actually said out loud since the election that they're looking forward to more normal and better relations. So in a way, they've said that they do expect things to get better, and soon. All right, David Rhodes, stand by. We have some other news we want to tell you about right now. New video being released by the Taliban shows a couple that was taken hostage while backpacking in Afghanistan in 2012, as well as their two children who were born in captivity. Caitlin Coleman and American or Canadian husband Joshua Boyle are seen in the video making an appeal to President Obama and President-elect Trump to help secure their release. CNN Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr joins me now with the details. Barbara, what do we know about this?
What heartbreaking video to look at, John. These two small children now involved in this. The couple taken hostage by the Taliban back in 2012. What may be most interesting for U.S. intelligence officials is this is the most recent proof-of-life video of the family, because they do mention President-elect Donald Trump. They are appealing both to President Obama and to Mr. Trump to do something to get them released from the Taliban. There is language in this video where they talk about what the Taliban want are some prisoners being held in Afghanistan, some of their people, to be released. This is something we have heard before in relationship to other hostage cases. The Afghan government right now not releasing any of the people that the Taliban want. So, it is difficult to see a way forward for this family in captivity by the Taliban since 2012. Let me quickly divert back to the subject of Russia. I want to mention that there are, in fact, a couple of cases where it is to both countries' self-interest to actually talk, and in fact they do. Behind the scenes, the Russian and U.S. military do talk about nuclear weapons testing, about the state of their nuclear weapons arsenal, where those weapons are. They do talk about deconflicting air operations over Syria. They do talk more often than not about where and when exercises may be happening. There are standard notifications communications about all of that. There are restrictions since this relationship has become frozen. There are not the routine visits, the routine communications, but like so many militaries, I just think it's worth reminding everybody, in these cases, both these countries, when it is in their particular self-interest, somehow they do find a way to communicate. The cyber attacks, the most recent freezing of the relationship.
Barbara, thanks so much for those facts, important information there. David Rowe, while we have you, I just want to get your quick take on that video with these parents, with these children, having been, you yourself were held hostage in Afghanistan for a long time.
You know, they make these videos. It's appalling. I mean, and I'm speaking on a personal level, and I'm biased because I was held captive. Right. There's 2 children were born in captivity. This family's been held for 4 years. They were hiking. They were unarmed civilians when they were kidnapped. So it's, you know, it's really terrible to see these videos. It's terrible that they continue to be held by the Taliban.
Period. Full stop. It's an awful thing to see. David Rowe, thanks so much for being with us. I appreciate it. Next, chilling testimony in the trial of former NFL star Aaron Hernandez. A survivor says he saw Hernandez gun down 2 people in cold blood. We'll hear that.